Hello and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm excited to share what's new in Nylo version 6. This is currently the latest release and there's a ton of really cool features now to help you build apps even easier in Flutter. If you're new to Nylo, you can head over to nylo.dev and download the project from here. In this video, I'm going to try and cover as much as possible, but to get started, just download the project from here and then you'll be able to build and run the project, and you should see the landing page which looks like this. So the first place we'll start is with the router.dart file. You can find that in routes. And inside here, you're going to notice the new syntax now for adding routes. It's just a lot more cleaner now. You can still add routes using the command from here. So if we just run that from the terminal, you'll see that it's going to create us a profile page. And you'll see that's been added for us automatically by Nylo. We can also add multiple pages as well. So if we do make page, let's create, for example, an account page, a settings page, and also I'm just thinking maybe a videos page. If you had a few pages you wanted to create just from one command, you can just run that command there and you see it's added all the routes for us automatically. To make a page the initial route, you just need to append this to the route. So if we wanted to make, for example, the profile page our initial route, you're going to see now it's on the profile page. We also have the ability now to actually specify when this should be the initial route. So for example, if the date is Monday, just an example, if we do date time, weekday is equal to Sunday, we're going to show this. If it's not equal to Sunday, we'll show, for example, this one. And yeah, if we build a run, we should now get a profile view because we're on Sunday today that I'm recording this video. But for now, let's take a dive into the homepage and see what's changed here. So inside this file, there's a few changes. The main change is this init method. This is going to be replacing the boot method, if you're familiar with that in Nylo 5 and 4. So essentially this is going to be able to handle the loading state if you've got an async method, or if it's not async, it's just going to basically render the view as normal. I'll just show how that works. So if we do sleep for 4 seconds, you're going to see that we get this loader for 4 seconds because we're having to initialize the page for 4 seconds at the moment. And if we want as well, we can actually change the loading style. So at the moment we've got normal, which is just going to basically take your loader widget from here. If you're interested in actually overriding that widget, you can actually just pass a child in here, that one like so. And now when we run this, you can see now we get that. So yeah, if you're interested in overriding the current loader, you can just pass in a child here and then that will be used. Another way you can use loading style is using skeletonizer. And here what it's going to do is take your layout from the view method here and basically apply this nice effect over it. So this is only happening obviously because we're initializing our page for 4 seconds. But yeah, if your page didn't have anything to load, it's just going to load as normal. But yeah, if we just put that in again, you're going to see we get this nice effect. And if you're interested in actually overriding what the layout looks like for that skeletonizer is going to use, you can just pass a child. And now if I build and run again, you're going to see that skeletonizer is going to take this layout and basically render it. So I hope that explains how the skeletonizer loader works. So the next thing I'm going to share is the API service. So what we can do is just uncomment this. You should have it in your project, but essentially all this is going to do is get the GitHub information. This isn't really anything new in Nylo, how you do API requests, but you can see now we can actually specify a cache key. So for instance, if you want to cache a response for example, 1 hour, like we have here, you can just pass that as one of the parameters basically in the network request. And now if we hit this API, we should actually get an update to this source code bit here. Let's just build and run. You can see now we get the total stars on GitHub for Nylo, and you can see kind of the logic how it's working. We're just basic logic really, just checking if it's null, display this. If it's not null, then display the stars. But the really cool thing about it is that this request is actually cached. So you can see we get a cache hit here of 200, and this is the response. So if we just keep hitting this endpoint, we're not making any API requests. We're just able to fetch that from cache. and all the cache is stored in the local storage, basically on the user's device. So this is gonna basically live for 1 hour, and then after 1 hour, when it expires, it's gonna basically refetch the same request from the endpoint that you specified. You can actually, if you want, you could use the cache helper too. So we've got a cache helper, which looks like this. And if we want, we can actually just fetch that data because we've got some data stored to it. So if we do like print info of, the cache key here, you'll see that we get all the data that we're currently saving for that cache key. So yeah, pretty cool. And you can also do some more things. So we've got like the ability to save data. So if we do like save remember, we just need to put a cache key here. We do like hello world, let's save it for like 60 seconds, and inside the callback, we just basically just need to return what we want to save. So this is very similar to Laravel, if any of you guys are familiar with that. So if we save this for 60 seconds, and just to show you that it is caching only once, let's just put like hello in here, and then it's just retrieve the cache. So if we build and run, we should now see hello world, and of course we get hello because we've entered into the callback function here. And if we run it again, you'll see that we don't get that printout, but we're just getting it from cache now. So for 60 seconds, and yeah, after it expires, you'll basically enter this again. But yeah, this is a really useful tool now, and there's a ton of other things you can do with it. You can actually clear cache, get all the documents, check the size of your current cache and stuff. And yeah, there's more documentation on the nylo.dev website for you to learn more. The next thing I want to share is the splash screen. So this is something that's been recently added. So if you head over to your main.dart file, which is basically at the root, you'll be able to basically uncomment this and then have like a splash screen in your application. And now when we build and run, you're going to see for a split second, we get the splash screen. If you've got something that's very intensive that needs to run before the app boots up, basically you're just going to need to create a provider. Out the box, Nylo has a few providers here, like the event, push notifications that I'm going to show, and some other ones. But just for this example, I'm just going to create a new one. Let's create a one for like Firebase, for example. And inside here, we can obviously initialize all the things for like Firebase. I'm not going to actually include that library, but we're just going to like simulate, I don't know, it takes 3 seconds. So you can see here for build and run, we get the splash screen, and it's only going to go on for like 3 seconds and then actually show the app. So this is kind of like all out the box, and you can learn more about providers in the documentation. For now, I'm just going to remove this because there's more to show, and I'm going to just also, just remove this for now. And if you're interested in customizing the splash screen, you can head over to this file and you'll basically have all the source code for you. So the next thing I'm excited to share is probably one of my favorite features, and it's a widget called Navigation Hub. And to create a navigation hub, what we can do is just use Metro and just call Metro make navigation hub. I'm going to call this as my base navigation hub. And that's going to basically get added to my router automatically. And for now, I'm going to create this, set this as my initial route. So just using that. And if we just head over to that widget, this is the current boilerplate. So inside here, we just need to add some tabs. So if we uncomment this and just use the commands that we've got here to create our tabs, this is just going to basically add them. So we can add that. Obviously, like in a real world project, you're going to want to actually customize or change what these tabs are. But just for this demo, what we can do is run this command to actually just create these tabs for us. So if we build and run now, we should get the navigation hub. And I'm just going to customize some of the tabs just to make it a bit more clear which tab we're on. So, if we build and run, we've got the home tab and settings tab. If we want to add more tabs, all we need to do is just do something like this, just make sure the index is all correct. And here, for example, we could create a profile tab, and we just basically need to run the exact same command from down here. And this is going to create us a profile tab. Now, if we add that in and just change the widget like so, and build and run, let's also, just modify this as well. And yeah, now we should have that profile tab, which is down here. And it's like that easy really. There's more things you can do. So if you want to change it from like bottom navigation to top navigation, we can just basically set it like that. And now we've got the top navigation and it's all working. If you're interested in actually modifying some of like the properties for the top navigation, for example, like the background color, we've got like a ton of properties you can update inside here to really customize how it looks. So if we just make the background white, for example, you can see how that's working. And yeah, there's a ton of other things really we can do. So the next thing I'm going to share is actually how you can actually add badges to some of these. So what you can do is, in fact, let's create one more. Now we've got messages as well. And to add a badge, all we need to do is just append this, dot badge to the navigation tab. And now what we can do is specify basically how many badges it should have, like initially if you want. So just to show you, if we just set, for example, like 5. So yeah, if we build and run, you can see now we got 5 as our initial badge count. One thing to note is once you do specify the initial badge count, it will be stored in storage. So for example, if we was to actually remove this, it still will be 5 because it's basically stored. You're basically setting this as the initial count once. If you don't want that behavior, what you can actually do is just use remember count and just set that equal to false. So if we set this equal to false, for example, and then build and run, let's just update this now to like 2. You can see now it's not like remembering the last count or anything. It's just basically taking what you're setting here. And you might be interested in like, okay, so how can I actually update this value from like another widget or another page? And there's an easy way to do that. So for now, let's just change this back to 5 again. And what we're going to do is from the home page, update this badge. So we head over to our homepage tab, and I'm just going to add a on tap event. And inside here, what we need to do is first use the base navigation hub like so. Then we've got a variable called state actions. If you click into this, the next thing we want to do is just like increment the badge count. And we're going to want to do that for the 4th one. So that will be equal to 3. So if we build and run, and you can see now it's been incremented like so. That's all we need to do. And you can basically run this from anywhere in your project. It will update that badge count. And if we actually build and run again, you're going to see that that value remains because we're basically remembering the last value for the badge count. So it all just works really. You can also do things like clear the badge count. So if we clear the badge count for index 3 again, let's just see how that works. So now we've got 10. If we hit like this again, you can see it's now removed. And yeah, there's a ton of other things you can do really. You can do things like setting the exact value for it. So like update badge count of tab 3, we could set it to like 100 and see what happens with that. So if we try that again, you can see we get that value there. The next thing I wanted to share with Navigation Hub is actually how to navigate within a Navigation Hub. Because for example, we might have like a home page, but inside the home page, you could navigate to, for example, a products page or something. So if I just create like a new page called products, I think we might already have one, but no, a products page there. And now if you want to navigate to that page, all we need to do is use the new push to. So in this scenario, push to is going to replace navigate to because we want to push within the same tab to a new widget. So if we just use products page like so, and then yeah, if we just rebuild, if we hit this now, you can see we're now in the products page and we can go back. And what's really cool is if we actually navigate to another tab like so, and on this one, we go back, we can see that the state is still the same for this tab. And if you want to actually change the behavior for that, what you can do is just set this equal to false. So now if we try that demo again, we head over to here, settings, and then go back, you can see that state is now reset. Obviously you can customize this as well if you wanted. So inside here, you could actually add some like custom logic for like when to set the well, basically when to maintain the state and when not to, but that's just like a simple example of how you can do it. So for now, I'm set this back to true. And I think I'll create another video on this just to go into a few other things you can do with it, but that's Navigation Hub. So the next thing I'm going to share is how to do like notifications in Nylo as well. So this has been like quite requested for a long time, and I think what we've got at the moment is really like a nice way of handling like local notifications. So currently in Nylo, what you can do is use like show toast. So if I just go back to the original one, we can do stuff like this, like show toast success. We can do show toast like info and these other ones like danger. But for push notifications, we've got like a new API to make that easier. So for example, we can just use this push notification and then send notification method. And now if I hit this bell, you can see we get a local notification. We can do things like send it like at a certain time. So I'm not sure if we had like a shopping app, we could basically like push this like after like 20 minutes. I don't know, after the user leaves their cart, you could send a notification to them to remind them that there's something in their basket. And yeah, if we was to run this now, you're gonna see it's gonna take 5 seconds and then the notification will be displayed. So yeah, it's pretty powerful. There's a ton of like things you can do. So you can set like subtitle, badge number, add a sound, icons and stuff. Just to show you the subtitle, you just put, yeah, this is a subtitle. And I think for now I'm just going to remove the at because we don't really need it for the demo. Yeah, and let's build and run. So you can see, yeah, that subtitle gets added. And there's actually another way you can actually send push notifications as well. You can actually just use like push notification and add like a title and body. So we could do like hello world. And then inside here, we just need to basically just use send like so. So this is kind of essentially the same. And to actually add more arguments, all you need to do is just pass in like more things. So for example, down here, we could like add badge number, add color for Android and other things really. So I'll just add that subtitle again. I'll just add like Nylo. And yeah, if we build and run, you see that we get that push notification or that local push notification. If you're doing like remote notifications, you're still going to want to use something like Firebase. This is just like local notifications in your project, which can be a lot better really because the user will see it on their log page, which will be, yeah, something like this. So you could handle like untap events and stuff like that. You just need to check out the push notification provider, which is here. And yeah, you'll be able to do some other things. So the next thing that's really cool is forms, and I know a lot of you guys have been using forms in version 5, but it's been like totally like refactored and just revised really to make it a lot better. But yeah, let's imagine we have a page, report, an issue. So we've got like a report and issue page, and let's just have that as the initial route. So inside here, we've got a page. And let's create a new form for that. So let's just do metro make form, and we'll call it like report and report an issue. So that's going to create our form for us inside our app, then forms. You can see it's been created there. And to actually display it, all we need to do is use my form and just passing the form like so. So if we build and run, you'll see this is our current form. If we just like dive into the class, you'll see this is what we've got like create for us automatically, but we don't want this. So let's remove a few things. So yeah, let's try that. And this is currently what we've got. One of the cool things about forms is if we wanted, for example, like a first name and last name like next to each other, what we can actually do is do like first name here and last name. All we need to do is actually just put this in like an array like so. And now if we build and run, you'll see that they're like next to each other. So that's like all we need to do. And there's a ton of other things you can do with forms. Let's do a few things. Let's add like a button so we can actually submit the form. So for that, I'm just gonna add a footer. And the footer is just gonna be basically like a button that we're gonna set at the moment. So in Nylo version 6, we've got this like new button class. So if you just like add button, Here we can just call this like submit, and I think we're going to need a bit of padding around it, so I'm just going to wrap this inside a padding widget and just specify, yeah, the top. Let's go with 15. So yeah, now we've got our button as well. And last thing, I'm just going to add a bit more padding around the whole, yeah, just to make it a bit nicer. Cool. So this is what we've currently got, and it looks really nice. To actually submit a form in Nylo, all we need to do is use submit form, and here we need to just basically pass the form as the first argument, and then here we just basically need to just basically set like data like so. This is going to be like the data that comes back from the form. So just to show you, if we just like print this out for now, it's like print info, and also make sure we're on the right one. Cool. So if I just put some information in here, let's just do like Anthony, and I'll just do something random. At the moment, there's no validation, but I'll show you how you can do that too. But yeah, you can kind of see this is the data that we get back from the form, and that all just basically happens for us automatically. So if you add some extra fields in your form, that data is also going to be available for you in this data parameter here. And you can see this is how you're going to want to construct the submit form with the new button class. So there's other things you can do. Actually, you can actually have other buttons. You could do like secondary. We've got some other things like transparent, rounded, icon buttons. But for now, we'll just use the primary style because it's probably the most easiest one. So you might be wondering like how you can actually set data to these forms before it's rendered. And to do that, what we need to do is just use this form initial data. And inside here, we're going to just basically return back the values for each of those fields. So if we just head into our form, we've got like first name. So, if we like first name is going to be equal to like John. Let's do last name Doe, and let's just see how that works at the moment. So if we build and run, you can see now those fields are populated. One of the cool things about initial data is that if, for example, you're making an API request to like retrieve this data, it might take 1 or 2 seconds, or hopefully a bit quicker. But if it did take a little bit of time, let's just simulate how it would basically look to the user. So let's imagine it's going to take 3 seconds for it to actually like set this data. And yeah, if we build and run, you'll see we get this nice, like really nice interface really for us, for the user. So they can kind of just see that, the data is loading, and there isn't anything special you have to do. It all just works out the box. If you want to set like values like individually, what you can actually do is use the set field value. So here again, it's something similar. Just basically need to specify the field name. So first name, and again we can do like Anthony, for example. And now when we build and run, you see that value is now populated. And if you're interested as well, you can actually do the exact same from the nyform widget as well. So inside here, we can just use like initial data, and inside here it's slightly different. We just do it like this basically. So if we build and run, you see that data is populated, but I think this way is probably the nicer way from the init method. So I think most cases you're going to want to do something like this, because it just means that it's a bit more flexible, and if something does take a bit of time from your API, you've always got like a nice loader for your users. So another thing that's really cool about the button class is that we can actually also make this like async. And let's imagine like inside here, we're gonna like actually pass this data to an API to store the data for our user. So for now, I'm just gonna again simulate an API request. So let's just do like sleep for 3 seconds again. But yeah, I want you to just notice what happens when we tap this now. So we tap this, we get this nice loader, and then after 3 seconds, the button's basically unlocked. So again, this all happens for us like automatically. There isn't anything special we have to do. It just kind of works. And if you're interested in actually changing how that's actually like how that shows to the user, if you want to like set this equal to false, this can initialize the loader. Build and run again. You'll see now we get a nice loader. And yeah, if you don't want the loader, you can actually just change the loading widget. So Yeah, a ton of customization, and this is again like all out the box, so it's really simple. And the great thing about this button class too is you don't actually have to use it with forms if you don't want. If we was to like remove this, you can just use like on press and have the same kind of functionality. So if we make this like a sync again, and again let's use our favorite function, sleep, you'll notice that now we're not submitting the form, but if we tap it, we get the exact same nice like loader. So I hope you've enjoyed those features. There's a ton of like really cool things now you can do in Nylo, and I'm sorry if I haven't been able to like cover some of the ones you've been interested in, but stay subscribed to like be informed for the next videos.